I can say that I got the most enjoyment out of my papayas eating them green.
Hmm.
And I'm excited to get some more papaya trees that the frost took all of ours out, or the freeze.
Myself, Sam, I'm not a papaya person per se. I think it's very tasteless. Um,
No kidding.
so what
Kind
I
of
like to
smells
do
like
is just
vomit to me.
yeah, I just put them in a smoothie, so at least
Yeah.
the taste for me is hidden, and I'm still getting some of the benefits from it. So
Ladies and gentlemen, grab your gloves and get your compost ready. Stepping into the ring is the perennial powerhouse, the sultan of soil, the beast of the beds, where permaculture reigns, food grows wild, community roots run deep, and yes, the garden punts hit hard. Freedom starts in the soil. This is the Guerrilla Gardening Show.
welcome back to the Guerrilla Gardening Show. I'm Mike with Mike's in the Garden, here with Sam from Central Florida Abundance. What's going on, Sam?
Well, a lot going on today.
A
Uh,
lot.
y'all will have to excuse me if I'm a little out of it in this episode, but I did just greet my daughter for the first time she came into this world on Friday, and thanks, yeah. But we're still adjusting, but I'm still here,
Just in
and
time for the fireworks.
really, yeah, yeah, they were going off, when she was a few hours old, so big celebration. We didn't get to see any fireworks. I can guarantee you that. We were locked in that hospital room. But sounds of explosions out the window. That's get your adrenaline up if
Yeah.
it wasn't already. I mean,
Well, congratulations, Sam. If you're watching this, go leave Sam a comment down below and wish him the best success with Lily, your newborn. So, congratulations.
yeah, new farm baby. Give me a year.
Excellent.
I'll have her out here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Well, today we were going to talk about papayas and all of its glory.
a plant that I think people put too much pressure on, to be honest. Let me start this by saying papayas are on a much lower level than avocados, most of our fruit trees, most of our like high production things, we think about, we've got to plant these trees and, wait ma- at least a couple years before they give us fruit. Maybe we're waiting a decade before they're really producing for our these perennial species that we like to get established. But papayas, they are on a completely lower level, and I say low as in level of succession. Papayas are a weedy species. They do like, yeah, they are a little particular about their soil type, but they don't need a lot. And they grow very quickly, and they can produce very rapidly and uh, very frequently. So, oh yeah, okay, let's start here. But you know, I always tell people papayas are a dime a dozen species. Don't spend $100 on a papaya tree. You're better off planting papaya seeds. If you can get a little tree for 20 bucks or less, definitely. I've bought some, unique varieties that were like that. I'll spend maybe 20 or 30 bucks, but this is not a high-end fruit tree. It does not matter how fancy of a variety they want to sell you. This is low end. Now, they're delicious and amazing, and you should have 50, but the best way to grow them, find a good one and plant its seeds. You can see in this picture right here, each papaya is going to have hundreds of seeds in it. And I don't know if I've seen lots of sad papaya trees, but a healthy papaya is going to have dozens of papayas on it at, really any given time. It seems like all year they kind of produce once they're established and happy. Maybe they'll take a break in the winter. Now they are not frost tolerant.
No,
Um, oh, now this is interesting. So this does point out that papayas are also not really trees. They don't have lignin. And lignin is the stuff that makes up what we think of as wood. Um, and the papayas don't have that. They're more of an herbaceous plant where their stem is just old leaves. The leaves emerge and then it's just leaf scar after leaf scar after leaf scar that then hardens up. But if you cut them in half, they're hollow in the middle. Usually they'll have some chambers like banana or like bamboo. But yeah, and because of that, like it says right here, they are not cold hardy.
no.
They will really go under 32 degrees. They're just going to go. Now, I will say their root systems seem to hang on. And a lot of times you can get, you know, a new trunk reemerging from the roots after it's knocked down. But just save some seeds, at the end of the year, save some of those papayas. I wonder if it talks here. I've always thought that papaya seeds were best planted fresh. Have you done any like papaya germination?
Oh, I have.
Ah, okay,
So,
perfect.
so I soaked my seeds for I'd say half a day, maybe less than 12 hours, just to kind of get some of that gelatinous material off of it. And then I kind of went about it a few different ways. I saw David the Good did a video once where he just planted a whole bunch of seeds in the ground,
That's what I
and
do.
then as they start to sprout and strong enough where you could either up pot them or transplant them on their own, he kind of moved them. But I also did like small pots, just putting a single seed in a small pot. I also, which I was trying to look for the video and I couldn't find it, but I had two, one or two papayas growing out of my compost, and when I stirred it up, I was able to, take the geo bin apart and still save the papaya and transplant it, and it worked out for me. So, very resilient plant.
Absolutely. Like I said, I like to use the fresh seeds. I think once they dry out, they have a much lower germination rate. But, because each fruit has maybe 100 seeds in it, if you find one tasty tree, if you can get one fruit from it, and I mean, you could do the experiments. You'd have so many seeds from that one fruit. You could throw some in pots, put 50 in the ground, and then I guarantee none of y'all have yards, at least, well, most of y'all are not going to be in situations where you want 50 papaya trees growing in your yard.
Sure.
Um, and so, maybe if five of them germinate out of those 50 seeds, that's going to be a success. Um, and
I'm learning here that there's male, female, and bisexual papaya plants.
yeah,
So
you didn't know that.
I
That's
did not. I
it's a
didn't realize
common
I was
thing.
misgendering my papaya plants.
It's they them papayas. Uh, no, I have people ask me about that a lot. They'll plant. Usually, what happens is they buy one $75, 7-gallon papaya tree, and then they bring it home, and then they're like, "Oh no, I read on Google that I needed a male and a female," and they're like, "What do I do?" Uh, and most of the time, here in Central Florida, the variety that is sold at nurseries is the dwarf red lady or dwarf pink lady, one of those. And it's uh, what is that called? Dioecious, I believe. That's when it has, the male and female flowers on the same plant. But each flower on the plant will either be male or female. And the especially the more wild papaya varieties, predominantly have only male or female flowers. Now, for pollination, you need at least, a couple papaya trees of different genders within a mile of each other. And here in Central Florida, because papayas are so weedy and because we like to plant them, there are usually plenty around, even if you only have one. Now, if you've had one and you've had it for many years and it produces flowers every year but never produces fruit, it's probably a pollination thing. And you should definitely, think about incorporating another one. And you can tell if it's male or female. You just have to look at the flowers and see if it has the pistil, one pistil coming out, which would be a female, or if it had multiple little stamen, which would have the pollen on them, you would see, and then that would be a male flower. And then, I mean, if you're, you know, still spending hundreds of dollars on them, just pick one out at the nursery that's flowering that you can check. But you'd probably be better off just throwing 50 seeds in the ground. And I don't know if I said this earlier, but from seed in a healthy tree, you can get fruit that first season. So that
Mhm.
first year, um, you plant them in the spring, you're gonna have papayas by, the fall. So it really is worth planting from seed. It's not something that takes lots of time. Um, they do grow slow in the beginning, I think, and they definitely need water. So don't, I mean, I guess if you got 10 fruit, you could probably throw them all out and you did get one or two that would make it without water.
Yeah, I've also learned, and I've only uh, experimented a little bit, but the seeds have tremendous nutritional value for your gut. And I believe it's like your gut is really your second brain, and your gut biome is essentially its own living thing that kind of keeps your body in check. And so, papaya seeds, you can, I would swallow them. I wouldn't try eating them, but you could take like a spoonful. I know some people put honey on the spoonful and then put the seeds on there so it goes down easier. I've also heard people dry out the seeds and blend them into like a pepper and
Oh, that'd
put
be
them in
interesting.
like soups and stuff. Um, but so many different medicinal purposes with the seeds
I've
as
always
well.
heard the seeds are anti-parasitic, like
Mhm.
they can absorb the parasites in your gut. And so actually last year we had so many papayas and uh I will say I'm not a huge fan of ripe papayas. I I'm developing the taste, but they're kind of funky. And I did not grow up on papaya. I was a little suburban boy eating peaches and apples all day. Uh, but so my chickens love ripe papayas. And those seeds, they also eat those seeds as well. And that helps get parasites out of their gut. And, I don't even have to waste any honey to get them to eat them. But I have used I mean, we took papaya seeds last year with honey, like you said. And I mean, it's not unpleasant. It's just like a little, medicine maybe you take a little every now and then couple times a year to help clean you out. Um, but yeah, don't try to chew them up. I think you'd probably break your teeth.
Yeah, for sure. And I actually gave away a few papaya trees to my friends that have chickens because they're younger in their 20s and they're both um, you know they go to Tractor Supply for a lot of their feed and they don't have as much organic feed. And so, I recommended, hey, grow a whole bunch of sunflowers in succession. Grow some over there, and a week later plant some here, and another week later plant some somewhere else. And papayas, I mean, how fast they grow and how many
Oh
you
yeah.
can get. You should have, if you have the space, like you said, 5 to 10 papaya trees that are, just producing as they go. And myself, Sam, I'm not a papaya person per se. I think it's very tasteless. Um,
No kidding.
so what
Kind
I
of
like to
smells
do
like
is
vomit
just,
to me.
yeah, I just put them in a smoothie. So at least
Yeah,
the taste for me is hidden. And, I'm still getting some of the benefits from it. So
I can say that I got the most enjoyment out of my papayas eating them green.
mm,
And I'm excited to get some more papaya trees. That the frost took all of ours out, or the freeze last winter. So I've got some more coming up, but none yet. And what I like to do is take the young green papayas, peel the green skin off, and then you got to rinse off that latex that'll come out underneath. And then you can shred them up into strips, and I mean, it's like squash, it's like cabbage combined. They're crunchy, refreshing. You can eat them raw. Um, I like to, just put some like vinaigrette or, some kind of seasoning. Uh, Fish sauce is really good on there. Um, or you can even ferment them like kimchi. You can shred them up into the little strips and then, put them in whatever you do for that. What is that, like apple cider vinegar or something like that? Uh,
yeah, sauerkraut maybe.
yeah, you can make like a sauerkraut substitute with the shredded green papaya. And so I would eat hundreds of those.
Hmm.
Um, and I don't know. I mean, everybody, it's done culturally around the world. There's some thoughts on the latex inside the skin, but I think, you know, most of that is like in the top layer of the skin. So if you do uh, peel that off, which you just do that with like a carrot peeler, you know, it's very thin skinned.
I have a video for us here of my frozen papayas from when we got our 100-year freeze here, whatever we want to refer to it
Oh,
as.
yeah, that made me so sad. Actually,
Yeah, so this is my frozen papaya tree here. You can see how toasted this thing is. And I mean, we were under 40 degrees for a few days and literally going out there pulling off frozen papayas. And yeah, a lot of these ended up getting composted because you can see they weren't completely ready. Ones at the bottom were probably close, but
yeah, the fruit too gets ruined, when those temperatures get so low.
yeah.
Uh, how old do you think that papaya tree was?
Oh, it was about a year old.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, it did its thing. Right next to the compost was, going for like a half a, we'll call it a banana semicircle with, I had two bananas on opposite sides and then in the middle of the papaya, but both bananas died, papaya died. It's actually a loquat where this papaya tree is now. So
That's probably going to be a better tree for that area, honestly. Because
yeah,
I will say, I mean, this papaya is not super small, but for a year old, I mean, maybe was it one you like grew from seed or was it a variety?
this was the compost one that,
Oh, okay.
yep, took it out of the compost, put it in a pot, let it get a couple feet tall, and then stuck it in the ground. So
So that kind of brings me to uh so something to consider with papayas. There is a lot of variety in their growth habits, and a lot of papayas are going to be very tall trees. They might get 30 feet tall, and all of the fruit, just like this, is going to be produced at the top of the tree. And so one option is, like we talked about earlier, the dwarf varieties. They'll only get about maybe 10 feet tall at their max. Um, and so then, that fruit is reachable. But when you have taller varieties like this, the best thing to do is to cut them. When they were maybe a little bit smaller than this, you could cut it in half, and then it's going to become multi-trunked, and each one of those trunks is going to be a little bit smaller.
You can kind of see here it
Oh,
did.
it is splitting a little bit.
Yeah, I think a big wind blew a branch down when this thing was just a couple feet tall and it broke it in half. And of course, I thought it was gone for good. And, people were telling me, oh, no, that's actually, it's fine. So, um,
It's fine.
well, it did
Yeah, and it
produce
is
two
good.
branches that had all these fruits. And then one of the branches got so heavy that it broke. I actually do have that video, but yeah, so I mean, it was fine as far as, it didn't stunt it in any way or prevent it from producing. But
Yeah, I mean, and it can slow them down. If you half it, you may not get that, fruit that first season or that first year, but in the long term, it's just going to be better because you have to get, a 10-foot ladder out every time to harvest your papayas. They're going to end up falling on the ground. And that is another thing to consider with papayas is that it makes a lot of fruit. They ripen really quickly and insects love them. You'll get little, I guess, usually the worms that I find in there are the papaya wasp larva. And what'll happen is they'll eat the seeds, the young, like developing seeds
hmm,
inside the papaya, and keep it from developing all the way. And then also, your papaya will be full of little worms. And then the wasps actually will like carve out little holes and make nests, I guess, to lay more larvae inside ripe papayas. And so, uh, you know, it is something you don't want to have too many, but it's fine to start with too many because it's an easy tree to remove. I don't know if we touched on it, but I saw it in the UF article. This is a short-lived tree. Even if
yes.
everything goes well, your papaya is probably going to be around. I mean, I think 10 years would be a pretty good run for papaya.
Yeah, I think that's what it said was uh, like a max 10 years.
Yeah. I want to show this. So this is from my Instagram right here. This probably looks crazy, uh, just because
Well,
it's how it's the
this
layout.
is,
But
this is, I'm assuming these are the
this is
papaya
my
wasps.
papaya. Well, no, this isn't the wasp actually.
Oh,
But this
are you
was.
okay? You don't see my video up here?
Oh no,
Oh no. Okay.
wait. It's because I was sharing. I see your. Oh,
I didn't
you
see
know,
any. I didn't see what you were sharing. Let me. Yeah.
bro. Those are dragonflies. I think.
Oh, they're wasps.
Are they?
Yeah.
They're not the papaya wasp though, because I mean they get inside of it.
Yeah. No, these are just. It's a lot of insect
So
sex going on in my food forest back here. So
as there should be, reproduction. That's what we want to
yeah,
see.
bring up your videos, Sam.
Uh, but yeah, I mean the papayas do bring in a lot of pollinators, a lot of things like their flowers. So this papaya tree, and there's gonna be another one right after it, was about a year old, and this was it. You can see what it looks like after the freeze,
Mm,
but it ended up completely going down to the ground. Um, and I mean we took a lot of damage on everything,
sure.
but then this was the other one, and so. This really is just to kind of, can you see this well?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, just to give you an idea of how much fruit production is going to come from one healthy papaya. Um, and the key to the healthy papaya is loose, well-draining soil that gets plenty of water and sunlight. They don't really want to grow in the shade. But having those loose soils is key. And a lot of people think that just because we're in Florida, our soils are sandy, that they're loose and well draining. But really, most of our yards are overly compacted from lots of reasons, uh, mostly the turf grass. But so when we're starting with those compacted yard soils, it's good even for this weedy species to go in and break up the ground a little bit. If you're throwing seeds in, make it a little sand pit. That's where they really like to be. Um, and it's always nice to find a species that can capitalize on super sandy soils.
Yeah, I actually have here this is the papaya tree when it was first planted. The one we just saw that was 8 feet tall with a bunch of papayas. So this was May 24, and that video we were just looking at was April
Was
20.
it after the freeze?
Okay, this was planted April 24, and the one that showed the branch break was November 24. So, I mean,
Oh, okay.
a year and 5 months, it had fruit on it. Enough fruit where the tree couldn't contain it all.
Yeah, it was falling over.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess it was a lot less than 2 feet. I don't know why I thought it was a 2 footer, but I mean that's good enough. That's a hardy tree that you can transplant.
Oh yeah. That if I was gonna buy papaya trees, that is the size that you really want to buy them. At that point, they haven't established a big root system. And even if they're in a 1 gallon, 3 gallon pot, they're gonna be okay. I'd pay $15 for each of those papayas. Uh, but it's just as easy to grow them from seed yourself. Looking at that one tree did remind me, another little tidbit is that the leaves are also edible. They do have to be cooked first, um, but they are eaten pretty traditionally. You can also use them to cook things in, wrap it up like you do with the banana leaves.
Okay. I did not know that. I got to share this one because, a lot of people were kind of giving me a hard time, and they had a lot of things to say about my papaya here that it looked like a female body part, and I didn't really appreciate the commentary that people had on some of my papayas.
Everybody be
So
nice to Mike's papaya in the
I I,
comments.
I had to make a video about it because I was just so upset.
Did you end
And
up eating it?
yeah, yeah, for sure. Yep, yeah,
What?
we had
Were
some.
they, what the heck?
Yeah.
Were they all like that on the tree?
No, I don't know if these were like I mean that one's all green, so I don't know if that one was like a little well, I guess it wouldn't be premature if that's how it looked after all that time, but um yeah, no, I thought that was pretty fine because of course Elizabeth's dirty mind, she was like, "Oh, you know what that looks like." Yeah, well,
Make that papaya salad.
but
Uh,
yeah.
no, papayas are great trees. Two, one of the varieties that I'm really interested in right now, I've got Hawaiian solo papayas, and they came from Third Insight Design. Shout out to Raleigh over there. But he took me up with those through. He's worked very hard to hook me up with those. He's given me probably 100 seeds that he's collected, and then we ended up just getting some plants from him. It's been a struggle to to get some established. I had some like 4 foot ones that froze down last winter, and so now they're starting to come back up. But this is a papaya, the Hawaiian Solo, that's supposed to be it's palm size, and it's supposed to be very sweet without the chemicals that give it that kind of funky smell and odor. So I'm very excited to try some of that. But that is one that I'm gonna keep multi-trunked. And at some point I'll have some videos of that once I get back out in the yard. But they've come back up and I've got, two trunks that are about 2 feet. I can say that this time of year, if you're starting your papayas in this in like if you started them this year, it's going to seem slow, but by the end of the summer, August, September, they're going to explode. If you have some 20 or some 12-inch, some 2 foot papayas out, you're like, they're just, I don't know what to do with them. Just have a little bit more patience. They're about to take off. Um, they
It's
really
funny
like
you
those.
say that video we just played where it was May of 2024 and I had just planted it. Well, my parents left, I think it was just around that time. They saw me plant it, I think, and then they left a couple days later. They came back in October and the thing I was like 5 or 6 feet tall, and they couldn't believe that, that 1.5 foot tree was now all of a sudden 6 feet tall. And
Like, what did you do? Plant a different one here?
yeah, yeah. But
Uh, yeah, it's a great tree to start out with because it grows so quick. You get that early canopy support. So if you are planting, your long-term fruit trees, whatever, that those uh true trees, hardwood, that are going to produce for decades, when you plant those, plant them small too and then plant a series of papayas around them. They're going to add protection, canopy, and then some immediate gratification. Plus, I always think that, you plant a triangle of a fast-growing tree, papaya, moringa, pigeon pea, something around your main tree. You can use those trees as stakes. They're windbreaks, but then you can also, you get a hurricane, just tie them all together and they're going to hold each other up. So papayas are great on their own, but they're also just wonderful parts of the food forest systems. And because it's a cheap and easy tree to plant, it's great for planting in places where, they're not going to get as much protection. Maybe not in your yard. You're planting them off property. What are we going to do? I want to plant 500 or something that somebody else may go kill. Let's do papayas.
right, yeah,
We
yeah.
are almost out of time, but I feel like I have to mention that not the papayas that we necessarily buy from nurseries, but there are native papaya species to South Florida.
Hmm.
And so that's also makes them a really great guerrilla gardening species. They are weedy, but they're not invasive. They actually have lots of natural checks and balances in our ecosystems, even, the more cultivated varieties. So have no fear. I mean, be respectful about what you're putting and where you're putting it, but it's not something that has to weigh on your conscience. So get those papayas out there. I want to see more and more papayas in every yard.
Yeah, now I'm wondering if a papaya would do well on top of my leaching area of my septic, or if it's deep rooted.
They're more widely rooted. They have like broad, kind of shallow root systems. Um, I do think they get a little bit deep, deeper than grass,
Yeah,
than like turf grass. They'll get maybe 3 feet down into the soil, but that's pretty shallow for a tall plant like that.
yeah, and my septic I think is, well, it should be probably at least 5 or 6 feet is the leaching field anyway. And if this thing's only going to survive 10 years, I don't know. Maybe I'll
You
F
might,
around and find out and see what happens.
yeah, you're gonna do it anyways. Don't even play. Just get them out there. More papayas, the better.
That's it. Yeah. Cool. Sam, great episode. Tell everybody where they can find you at.
Yeah, that was another great one. And I am taking a couple weeks off right now, but I will be back in August doing consultations, installations, and maintenance with Central Florida Abundance. You can check me out on Instagram and Facebook. And then I'm also doing some installations for the Grow Food Company. You can check out that website if you want to get a design and a larger installation project. Um, and you can always just watch what's going on right here. Watch the past videos on YouTube, and then head over there and check out Mike's in the Garden.
That's it. On all your favorite social medias, you can follow me there. Mike's in the Garden. If you're not already, you know what you're doing. But and then if you want a shirt, a Guerrilla Gardening shirt, if you want to F around and find out shirt, or some other silly designs, get yourself over there, get yourself a shirt. Be different. That's what we're saying. So
Be
cool. Sam,
different, be a papaya.
that's it. All
All right,
right.
y'all.
Catch
See
y'all
y'all
on the
next
next
time.
one.